Hey, Doc Steve here, and I want to bring up an item that's been out there really since the vaccines first came out. And this is an issue for a lot of people. And I have to be honest, I've had several patients actually ask me about this in the ER. And it's one of the more unusual questions that people have, but this is how it goes. Do the mRNA vaccines change our DNA? And what's so great about this question? It's a very easy one to answer because all you need is a biology textbook. You don't have to listen to the government or the CDC or Tony Fauci. You don't even have to listen to me. All you need is a biology textbook. And you know what? What's amazing about this is even radical extremist left-wing biology textbook writers and radical extremist right-wing biology textbook writers and even radical extremist middle-of-the-road milquetoast moderate biology textbook writers like moi agree. And it's amazing. How often does that happen in our culture? It's a miracle. I actually don't know if there's any such thing as a radical extremist milquetoast middle-of-the-road moderate because it kind of seems like an oxymoron to me, but if there is, they would agree. So every textbook agrees. So you can turn me off right now and pull out your biology textbook. Now, it's got to have a section on cell biology, but go to the index, look up mRNA, turn to that section, and it will tell you what mRNA can and can't do. So feel free to hurt my feelings and turn me off, or you can stay tuned. I am going to give you my version, and I do think it'll be a little bit more interesting than a biology textbook because I'm going to use an analogy. Hey, piqued your interest there. So if your body is a country, then the brain is the king. So this is what happens in the kingdom that is your body. The king sends out his instructions to the rest of the country. And when these instructions get to the local level, the town, the village, the district, the province, the local leaders then have to send the message out to the commoners in the countryside so that they know what the king wants them to do. Now, one of the weird things about this country is all the local leaders are like super introverted. They're like way more introverted than the most introverted person you've ever met. They've never even met anybody in the countryside. They've never leave the castle. Nobody in the countryside has ever seen the mayor or the governor. So they have to have a way to get the message out. So they send these heralds out to the countryside to tell people in the country what the king wants them to do. And I just said the leaders were kind of crazy. Well, the people in the countryside are pretty crazy too. You might say they're super passive aggressive because they basically do exactly what the heralds tell them for a little while, and then they basically turn around and cut the heralds up and send them back to the castle. Fortunately, the Duke or the mayor, they know how to put the heralds back together again to send them out with new messages. So there's another herald to send out. So this is what it looks like in your body. So the brain, which is the king, sends its messages out to the rest of the country through the nerves and hormones, and the messages get to the local level. Now, the local level, the town, the province, the district, is the cell. And if the local level is the cell, well, then the castle is the nucleus. And if the castle is the nucleus, well, then those introverted local leaders are the DNA molecules, because the DNA is what bosses everything that happens in the cell. And since the DNA never leaves the nucleus, it's got to have heralds to send out. So the heralds are, ding, 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 mRNA. So the mRNA goes out into the cell and tells it exactly what to do, which it does for a little while, and then it turns around and chops the mRNA up into little bits and sends it back into the nucleus. The DNA can then stitch it back together and send it out again, and this is basically the lifespan of mRNA. When it comes back to the nucleus, it's in about 1 million pieces. It can't do anything to the DNA. So what exactly is an mRNA vaccine doing? Well, the way to look at this is that there's a friendly allied foreign power that sees that our country is in danger, and so it sends its own heralds into the countryside to tell the local people, i.e. the cells, what to do. And the cells, when they see this mRNA coming from outside, they basically do exactly what it says for a little while, and then they get chopped up into little bits and sent back into the nucleus. Now, what the mRNA vaccine is actually telling your body to do before it gets chopped up into little bits and sent back to the nucleus is to make the coronavirus spike protein so that your immune system can then learn what it looks like, so that when you actually do get attacked by the real coronavirus, your immune system can recognize it right away and attack it. But basically, right after it tells the cell to do that, it gets chopped up into little pieces, sent back to the nucleus. And now King Brain can tell Duke DNA to use those little pieces to make a new mRNA molecule to send out into the cell to tell the cell to do what King Brain wants it to do. By the way, as an aside, I only gave you one of the reasons why mRNA vaccines can't change our DNA. The main reason actually is that in human beings, RNA can't change our DNA because we are missing the main enzyme we need for that. I figured if I did a whole video on that, though, it'd be super short and even more boring than biology textbooks. Now, if you don't believe me, check your communist or your fascist biology textbook and you'll see that they agree. So you folks out there who are spreading false rumors about messenger RNA changing the DNA, I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the mRNA for a couple of minutes, okay? They do exactly what they're told to do day after day after day, and they get cut up into little pieces day after day after day, and they get stitched back together day after day after day. How would you like to be an mRNA molecule? It's not much of a life. And for example, mRNA vaccines, they gave their short little lives for your benefit. So not only is it inaccurate to be saying these things about these poor little critters, it's also mean, and Doc Steve doesn't like mean people. If you like this video, please check out my other COVID misinformation videos on YouTube. They're at Doc Steve, all one word. Or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be posting at least all my new videos there. But thanks for watching. Until next time, don't be mean, okay?